Hello, I got another vlog here about my day and my thoughts. Have white people lost? What do you think? Did we get outsmarted by the Jews? Is our society degenerated? did we lose? Um, you know, has goy slop and brain rot and indulgence and sin and degradation roasted us? What do you think? I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of serious. Like, it is serious, but I just say that because of the demographic shift. You probably know what I'm talking about. The white replacement or great replacement or, those things. Did we lose? I don't know. It's weird because if you try and talk to people about it, it's like, I don't know if they understand or care or what, but, you know. But, yeah, I would say there's always hope in Christ. That's what I believe. So, yeah. But, honestly, my brain is cooked. I'll talk about that actually right now. It's coming back more than it was. My brain was just like not working, like fully not working for a while there. It's kind of coming back a bit, and that's with a lot of work, a lot of routine and everything. But it is coming back. But the reason my brain is cooked is because of the trauma that I went through as a kid, and then paired with concussions. I've had like 4 or 5 concussions. Those mess with you. And also bullying growing up at home. My older sister would bully me at home, and then also from other people, like, or other kids at school. I got bullied like throughout the entirety of school. And also embarrassing, but a lifetime of gooning. That's not good for your brain. And then also binge drinking. When I was like in my, early 20s to mid 20s, something like that. I had a group of friends and they just wanted to drink. They wanted to go out and get like super smashed and go to clubs and bars. And we were trying to pick up girls or something like that. And yeah, so it was like, it's not a good thing. And the whole thing was like about drinking. Yeah. So, I don't drink anymore though. But, and then shrooms, LSD, and I've tried MDMA once, a small amount. But, shrooms and LSD, I did too much of those. And those will really mess you up if you do too much psychedelics. They mess with your nervous system. You don't want to mess with your nervous system because it doesn't like make you, it doesn't somehow make you better. Like, it doesn't. Just letting you know. But yeah, no, heroic dose of shrooms, but it was too much. It was like a 5-gram dose, but I had fasted for 2 days, and then I mixed it with lemon juice, all ground up. The shrooms were ground up, mixed with lemon juice. So retarded. And yeah, it was way too much. Although I did feel the love of Jesus at the end, so I'm thankful for that. But you don't need to do shrooms to feel that. Like, and then I also I tried LSD a couple times. It was somewhat fun. Like the small dose that I did once with friends at a music festival. That was like kind of fun. But a lot of times it can be not that fun. And the thing I'll tell you about psychedelics is that, and people don't maybe don't know this. They have like a not a correct perception of them, but they bring up your attachment issues. Like, you go into an altered state of consciousness and perception, but also it will bring up your like connection to other things, right? And that's to put it lightly, but um, yeah. So for some people, it can be something they're not ready for, or I don't know about ready for, but they're not expecting. Is that it'll like, bring up you in relation to other people. So yeah, and then also, so a lot of that stuff cooked my brain, particularly the heroic dose. Like, I have not felt the same or right since then. I sometimes feel a little bit almost like I'm, back, kind of, but it's almost like a permanent trip. I wouldn't say like a permanent trip really, but it can kind of be like that. And then there's things called like persisting, uh, hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, HPPD. That guy from Channel 5, Andrew Callahan, always talks about how he has that, or gave himself that, because he took shrooms when he was really young. But it's just like you're constantly seeing the world kind of waving or wobbling, kind of, in a way. Like, it's like you're still on shrooms, you're still seeing that. But yeah, so I kind of had that for a long time. The weird thing is, though, and I'll say this, when I was young, like when I was a kid, we would have, you go to the school classroom, and I was in like elementary, and I remember there was like this carpeted area in the classroom, and I remember just staring at it intently, and it was like waving. And sometimes I see this, like it was like wobbling a little bit, but only if I would like, stare, and I would just kind of like focus into that, and then kind of like around my focal point would start to kind of like wobble or wave. I have the feeling that the entire world is doing that all the time. We just don't really maybe perceive it, or we could perceive it if we're at a different state of consciousness. I'm not exactly sure about all of it, but anyway, kind of an aside. And then the other thing that cooked my brain is too much gaming and screen time. I wouldn't say it like cooks your brain, but chronically being online. Like, you hear about like terminally online, chronically online. Like, too much screen time, and I spent like way too much time of my life on screens. It's not good for your brain. Like, if you think about it, it's not good for your brain, because of, and your socialization, because of the way people, didn't live with screens, and they were like in tribes or groups. And so your socialization wouldn't come through a screen, it would come from other people, right? Or at most it could come from like books. Could be like a very loose form of parasocial relationship. And that was like the most extreme at, before all the screen stuff. But now screens have just like, hacked people's brains. Like, that's the whole point of them, is that there's this like constant optimization with screens, when people are like making stuff. It wasn't as bad when the internet was first kind of came out. A lot of it was sort of like for fun, but it's now gotten to more and more just optimization and engagement and watch time and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's good for people. And for reference, I've put into like Dota 2. It's a MOBA. I played that for like over 6,000 hours, like 6,200 hours or something. I don't think that's quite a year. I think that might be like 200 something days. But this is not uncommon. Like, a lot of people do stuff like this, and maybe not a lot, but there are quite a few hardcore gamers and screen addicts and whatever But I had this friend, and his older brother, he had like 2 years on WoW. Like, like, I don't even know what that is, but has to be like around 15,000 hours or 20,000, I don't know. But World of Warcraft, but yeah, a lot of people do stuff like this. But it's not good for your brain, I believe, Yeah, and social isolation also cooked my brain. Social isolation is a really bad one. Um, and coupled with like the internet too, because it enables people to socially isolate a lot more. It's really not good, because you just kind of like enter into a different world, and you're kind of like in your own world, and it's really not that good. Like, we're not really made for that. Like, but this obviously is happening to a lot of people if you just look at the numbers of people out there. If you match it with, some known data on like different personality types and disorders and whatever, and then all of the screens we have access to, it's like, yeah, stuff does happen. But yeah, anyway, so but I would, even given all of this, I would still say it's possible for me to have a quote good life. That's kind of a tricky term, but what I mean is like to find a wife, like to find a girlfriend or a wife. And why I say that is because I'm not like that ugly, and also my physique is improving, and I'm over 6 feet tall. Like, I'm 6'3", and I have a wide shoulder to waist ratio. So looks wise, I have some things going for me. Although I have, like, I'm nerfed in other areas, or I've got detriments in other areas. But the reason I say all of this is because it's a reality, and that this stuff does factor in when people, choose their girlfriend or boyfriend. Like, looks factors in quite a lot. I think everybody kind of knows that. But we used to always get told like it was personality and everything, but that was just like it's like not really that true. Actually, I was looking at a thing on Twitter or X. It said that the top things for mate selection that were given as answers, and then that were real answers. Like, there was the ones that people said that they chose as like, this is what's important to me, but then there was like the real answers. And I think the top ones were like loyalty and good lover, and I forget what the other ones were, but looks was up there. It wasn't as high as you would have thought though. But either way, I think that, so my point though is that it's still possible that I could have find a relationship. The hard part for me though is that I just have a hard time liking anybody. Like, I have a hard time getting along with people, and it's honestly, it's a huge challenge. Like, it's a huge, difficult challenge. But I'll talk a little bit more about that. But like, I will say though that I go on these dating apps now, and I've been on them before, and I've talked about this before, but these women, I'm getting these matches with fairly attractive women, in my opinion. Actually, I think they're really attractive. I don't actually, I kind of like repeat the same line to just all of them. I think a lot of people do this, but I just say, hey, want to steal my comfiest hoodie? And I send that to all the different girls that I find are attractive physically, and also that they meet my criteria, that they go to church, and that they want children. And then also I changed the age range to like 18 to 23. I did have it at like 18 to 27, but the thing is that it's actually more difficult when a woman gets older to have a family, and that's biological. You know, a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that is true biologically. That fertility goes down. And then the other thing is that it's harder, I think, to kind of grow together with your mate. Like, I'm already 30, but I'm not a woman, so it's probably still fine for me. But I wouldn't say it's ideal. It's actually ideal for people to get married younger. But you know, when I was younger, we didn't really get that advice very much. People actually hated on that advice when I was younger, but a lot of people still do hate on that advice. And those people are idiots. It's like the best thing in the world is to get married and have children. I'm only really kind of realizing that now. But if you talk to people, you know, they tell you similar stories. But a lot of people say it's like, oh, I want to travel and get a career, and then I'll do all this later. Like I'll have kids later. It's like, it's not as, it's not, you're not making like a one, you're not really thinking clearly when you think like that. There's other factors at play, like, and yeah, you lose energy, and other things are at play that you don't really consider when you're making those decisions when you're younger. But a lot of it's based on like culture too, so people aren't even realizing they're so influenced by culture. But yeah, so I would say also, yeah, and some of these women on the dating apps, like, I have no riz, like, I have no game. I used to, but that's because I was doing the like, I was watching like the pickup artist videos and whatever, and this was like 10 years ago. But it's really not that hard, and I don't want to like sound bad by saying that, but, or offend people, but it really is not that hard to date women and get them to sleep with you or whatever. The thing I'm saying is, the distinction is, that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea, okay? It's not a good idea. Kind of got to make that clear. Like, it's not a good idea to do that. I've done it, I know. Yeah, so but the reason I brought that up is because some of these women, they want kids, like, and it's weird, like, I have no riz, but I say to them, like how many kids do you want or something, and they'll say like 3. And yeah, so I don't know, I don't think it would be like too difficult, but the hard part I find is, like, I have no game or riz, like, and I don't even like using those terms, but there's something like where I just make other people not like me. I'm not sure what it is, but I've kind of always felt like that though. So, and it's honestly, it's a horrible feeling to feel, but yeah. So I think a lot of people struggle with socialization and relationships in one way or another. I would say about 50% of people probably do, just based on attachment styles. And also, relationships are like the most important part of life, aside from worship, like praising God. Yeah. So, I went out and I evangelized this morning. I talked to 2 different people. I went to the university again, and both of those people, I talked to one guy, and he was kind of sitting like, it's like, a lot of people do this. He was sitting like on his phone, but he was like this, like, I don't even know if you can see me, but he was like, a lot of people sit like that. I'm not trying to make fun of him, but he was like completely like snail curled over on his phone, sitting on one of the benches. And I was going around the university, like, as usual, having a hard time approaching anybody to say something. And I kind of had to, like, say like, I'm just gonna do it, right? Because I was walking around for quite a while, like maybe 30 minutes, but I wasn't just walking around. I kind of went to the library. I was looking at books, but I was just kind of like trying to build up to who I was going to talk to. But the thing is, there's like hundreds of people, so I could have talked to any one of them. It's just hard to, and sometimes I don't really feel like I can do it, or that I found like the right person, although I don't even know if that would be true. But I'm also trying to let the Holy Spirit guide me as well. And trying to get that sense, also develop that sense, I guess, or I'm not really sure how that works, right? It's more of a felt thing, I guess you could say, but or faith or felt, but so I talked to that one guy. I just said, "Hi, what's your name?" And he gave me his name, and I said, I gave him mine, and I said, "Nice to meet you. Can I talk to you about Jesus?" And he said, "Not right now." And honestly, and then the same thing happened. I saw there was some girl sitting there on her phone, and I said the same thing to her. And also, I shake their hand as well. But yeah, she also said, "Not right now." But I count it as a success because I went out and I tried, right? And I said the name Jesus, and I don't say it like a joke, right? I say, "Can I talk to you about Jesus?" Right? Like in a serious, I guess you could say, manner. So in that way, it's proclaiming Jesus Christ out in the world, and that's my goal, right? Because people will go and tell their friends, even if they're mocking you or making fun of you, or, "Oh, some crazy guy was trying to talk to me about Jesus today," something like that. It's like a seed. The seed is planted, you could say. People can reject it, obviously, but at least now, it's out there. It's spoken, and yeah. So the thing is, though, I will say, and I'm not trying to make fun of these people, but and also I gotta acknowledge, like, I'm 30 years old. I used to go to that university. I graduated from there, but I'm also way older than everybody. If you go to university, a lot of them are just kind of like almost like children, even though technically you could say they're adults, but they're between the ages of 18 to 22, something like that, for the most part. And so they're all like Zoomers, but yeah, I don't know. It's just weird the way they talk. I gotta point that out. Is they kind of have this like really weird way of talking. It's kind of like fruit. It's kind of fruity. We used to say that when I was younger. When someone has like a effeminate way of talking, we say it's fruity. Maybe people remember that, but yeah. So, and also kind of fruity mannerisms as well. But a lot of like I'm not really sure, like defensiveness, kind of. I say that's like sort of the main feature of Canada, and it has been for a while. But the defensiveness, but that's okay. And well, I don't think it's a good thing, but it's got to deal with what we got to deal with. And also they're they could just have legitimate reasons. Maybe they just don't want to talk. Maybe they're waiting for somebody. That's very possible. They're waiting for someone. They have something to do right away or whatever. Oh, also I said it would just take a couple minutes. I said that to the girl, but I think people might think it might take too long or something. But anyway, I'll keep trying. I count it as success because at least I tried, right? And when you do things more and more and more, generally it gets easier. All right. And also they could be afraid of me. Like, a lot of people, especially women, they're tiny. It's something I kind of forgot because I don't interact with people that much. But a lot of like women are really not that big. Some women are like 5 feet or under. And another thing I didn't really realize is I think a lot of women are kind of always afraid, especially of men. But yeah, so I guess not all of them, but yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're just kind of, people are just afraid too. So I can't hold that against them too much, I guess, right? Um, so, anyways, uh, yeah, I'm wondering if it's over for white people. Like, if Canada is just cooked, as they say, the expression cooked, and if it's over, like, what do we do? I'm not saying it is over. There could still be hope, but it's seeming really bad. But if it's over for white people, what do we do? What is there to do? So my answer to that is to keep evangelizing. So I'm going to keep doing that. Yeah, because that's what's important, really, is spreading the gospel and spreading the message of Christ to save people's souls, or to try to assist in God's plan to save people's souls. Because if the world is passing away, right, dust to dust, and you're not gonna be here after you die to enjoy all of your wealth, right? Some people want to live forever, and they say technology can do that, but you're meant to die. You're not meant to be here forever. You're meant to live, um, live your life, uh, praise God, love people, figure it out, and figure out what you're supposed to be doing, which I say is to love and to praise God. But you're here to do that, and also to suffer. A lot of life is suffering as well, and to bear it, and to die. And after you die, you will be judged, and then you'll go to heaven or hell. And so you might be reunited with God forever, or you might be separated from Him forever, which is hell. I think that there's like a thing where you can actually pray for people, and there's like a chance that they can still go to heaven after they die. Is that purgatory, or is that possible for people who are in hell, or is hell forever? I'm not 100% sure on all of that, but yeah, I believe that's the basics of it, though. And yeah, I would say also that the grass is greener in the USA. It's like, what country can you go to? Poland, Hungary? These are still white countries because their governments are smart and they close the borders. But yeah, is the grass greener in the USA? I mean, currently it looks like it because Canada's doing so poorly. But yeah, I'm not proud of saying this, but I feel horny when I use these dating apps. Embarrassing, I know, but I kind of want to talk about that it's like such an illusion, right? And it's also unhealthy to be on those all the time, and also I think unhealthy to be on your phone all the time. But the phone really gets you, because the phone, it's like you've heard of, it's like a slot machine in your pocket. It knows. They have ways. They realize, it's like, if we make it like intermittently give you notifications and stuff, and your brain is just like, let me keep going back, because if I keep checking, I might get the jackpot, as if it were a slot machine, which is like, a date, which is sex, is kind of like how the brain thinks of it. And then another one is like, well, if I keep checking, my stock might go up, or blah, 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 blah. All these things, right? And then also for information and Instagram and memes, right? They're so hilarious, and people just burn their brains out on them. So all this stuff, but my point, though, is that it's unhealthy, I think, to be on them all the time. I think that's pretty obvious. A lot of people know that, but it's a tough one because they have a grip on people societally, and then also there's a functional aspect too. You hear this all the time about the functional aspect. Oh, I need my phone. I know it's bad for me, but I need it. It's like, yeah, it's got people, dude. It's got us by the balls. It's got our brains by the balls, really. But with the dating apps and feeling horny, this is like a bad thing. So I have a catfish story actually. So I was catfished really badly when I was, I don't even know how old I was. Um, like maybe this was like 5 years ago or something, or might have been like 6 or something. But so it would have been around like 2019, 2018, 2019. And I was using this dating, or not dating app. It was a mental health app called Talk Life for people with depression and all these different mental anxiety and all these different mental disorders. And you could go on there and post stuff, and then it just showed up as a feed for everybody, and people could comment on it, and you could DM people. And then somebody made or somebody was advertising like a group chat on Snapchat in one of the posts, and I joined it, and it was really fun. Like people when they get on their phones, young people. I wasn't even that young. I must have been like 23 or 24, but it's like you're always sending texts and stuff, and you're always sending snaps, and it's just like it's so addicting. And there was quite a few people in the group, and everybody's like getting to know everybody else, and there's kind of that feeling of like connection basically. And then there was one person in there, and or some girl in there, and I don't really remember, but we ended up kept talking and everything, and then it sort of like turned into like a relationship online, which is really stupid. I don't endorse that for anybody. It's such a waste of time, online relationships. But then we talked for months, and basically she just scammed me. That's the whole thing. It was this catfish story, but she had me like for months talking to her, and it was like all this like deep stuff at different points and everything. And she was sending me fake photos, like where she photoshopped it to look like she was holding my name on a piece of paper, and me being a dumbass, I believed it. And so dumbass at the time. I hope I'm not that stupid still, but yeah, I believed all that stuff. And yeah, basically I ended up sending her like almost $1,000, because she was supposed to like come up here to visit me, but it was just a scam, the entire thing. And it was like, I think it was like her friend was in on it too, because there was like 2 of them at one point. And yeah, so it was total scam. But the thing is that it's embarrassing. If you get catfished, that's embarrassing. I don't want to tell anybody that. Why would I want to tell anybody that? It's embarrassing, And yeah, the embarrassing part is like I was lonely and horny. It's like, who wants to talk about that as like the reasons, right? But yeah, so I don't even know, like maybe I thought like it was going to work out or something. But the illusion as well is like, now I'm on these dating apps again with these girls who live in the States, and again I'm like kind of like, I don't know about going crazy, but just falling for the delusion a little bit, where I think like, oh well, maybe it would work out and everything. But yeah, I don't know, it's kind of stupid, yeah, so I don't know, it's so stupid. I would say that it's kind of a huge waste of time and life, and also your youth as well. Um, if you can make it work for you, good, be done with it. Like, so yeah, don't use it for like loneliness or gooning or fantasy. Bad idea. What's real in relationships? Well, I would say, and I'm not an expert, and I don't think people should take advice from people who are not in the relationship that they themselves want to be in. That being said, what I believe is real is going to church, meeting a girl who goes to church, and dating her, and then get married, have a family, maybe a big family would be best, and then have a job and a house. And then with your family, pray and read the Bible. If you're a man, lead your family in prayer, take them to church. I think that's what's real, honestly. But that's been obviously attacked. That's like the core thing that's been attacked for pretty much everybody. That's like the core thing that's been destroyed. It's actually like calculated to destroy that. What they call like the nuclear family and everything like that. The father figure, all of that has been calculated to be destroyed. But that's where a society's strength is, though, is in strong families. Like, what is a society other than that? Well, it's now becoming like a slave society, right? It's just like all the poor, and they can be as effed up as possible as long as they can, still produce things and whatever. And then there's like the rich and the ultra rich and everything, but it's not just class, it's also spiritual warfare too. But yeah, I saw this thing, it kind of freaked me out just a little bit, and I'm not really sure. I think it's partly true. It was just a post on X that said that the CIA released something where they said that people's low energy states or low consciousness or low vibrational states are food for like evil entities. I thought that was crazy. But I kind of, in a way, I somewhat believe that. I believe that like evil forces, in order to survive, they have to feed off of good forces because they themselves are not generative. They don't generate anything. They need other good things in order to feel something and in order to continue on. So, yeah. Truly, I believe that. Like, there's something about that I think is true. Yeah, and it's got to do with energy. So, yeah. And it's a tough one, really, because, yeah, you're kind of in a bind a lot of the time with a lot of this stuff because, what's better than just friends getting together and doing stuff, right? But then if you get like a girl in the group, there's all this strife that happens. Or if one of the friends has a phone and then they want like all the attention on the Twitch stream that they're watching or gambling stream. And so it's just like all this evil stuff gets in there. But just having like your friends around and playing and doing stuff and building stuff, that's awesome, right? But yeah, anyway. Yeah. Actually, I'm talking to all these guys at church now, and we'll see what happens. I don't want to jump the gun, but I made a Discord for Bible study, but someone else made a Discord just for a hangout, and now they're talking about like having a hangout. I think it'd be great. I'd be very happy, to go to a hangout with some people that are somewhat at least around my age. I'm older. Like these guys, I think are in their early or mid 20s. I'm like 30, so I'm the old guy of the group or unk or something. But I don't care, But anyways, we'll see how that goes. And then, yeah, I also, just talking about my day, I went to therapy today. I had the chiropractor in the morning, and then I went to try and evangelize, and then I went to therapy after, and it was a good session. Like, sometimes it's hard to have a good therapy session for me, especially. But I was reading through my trauma story or list because I wrote it down because I'm kind of like not able to remember it unless I write it down. And I've worked on it before in this therapy, but I was rereading it again just to keep working on it. And I was able to cry, which is actually a good thing. And the therapist was kind of kept her mouth shut, which I'm so thankful for. She talked a little bit, which was annoying, but I told her, like, just, don't say anything. Like, let me just cry. Like, I've talked about this before, but when you cry, when your emotions are high, you're not in your logical brain, okay? You're not in your logical thinking. What other people try to do if you're emotional and cry is they start getting logical to try and like somehow do something or whatever they feel that they need to. Just shut up. Don't say anything. You don't have to say a perfect thing. You can just let the person cry. So anyways, and their tears will only last for like 90 seconds on average, and there'll be reverberations where they might cry again, but it'll be less and less, and they'll feel better too. So yeah, so anyways, but yeah, the point though of going over the trauma story, it's what do they call it, desensitization or exposure therapy or something. But the point is to take the emotional punch out of it, right? Because it's hard to talk about. Who wants to talk about what traumatized them? People don't even want to bring up the word, and I understand that. I don't even want to bring up the word with people because it's like you're opening up a can of worms. But the thing is, if you work on it in therapy, like that's the point. You go there and you work on it so that you can take the punch out of it, so that you don't start choking up and crying. It's like you're able to talk about it, you're able to like preface it properly or refer to it if needed in daily life, let's say, if the situation were to arise and it was like felt appropriate, but you're not like totally like consumed by it if something triggers you and you have to leave the room because you're choking up with tears or whatever it may be. I'm not making fun of that. I'm saying like that's the thing that people don't like, right? Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to like walk around and be like, if something triggers me, I'm going to have such a horrible time. People hate that. People want to be in like a relaxed, calm state where things are flowing, and they're in the flow and they're able to deal with things, right? And they feel fairly well, right? Like that's what people would like. So anyways, yeah, it'd be good. I think it's good because I'm more able to integrate all of this into my life in a way that I'm able to talk about it, and it kind of makes sense. That's the other thing about trauma stuff, is that a lot of times people compartmentalize it. That's the word for if it's like, okay, all this trauma stuff happened to me in my life, but that's over here, and I have that locked away, and nobody knows about it, and I don't have to talk about it. And well, that's understandable, right? But that stuff doesn't go away. Like it doesn't really just like go away. It has effects on your life in other ways. It's called subluxation. And the way I think about this is it's a wave. Like you're suppressing a wave, like an emotional wave, right? And that doesn't go away. It just kind of like, a wave is supposed to go up and down. And that's basically the emotions, the tears that go along with the story of whatever happened. And if you're not letting yourself go into the lower part of the wave, which would be like the tears and everything, or maybe you're not even able to, which is also kind of possible. It's kind of my deal as well. But if you're suppressing it in some way, it'll just bounce back and it'll express in like some kind of neurotic behaviors or something. But yeah, so I think it's important to kind of deal with this stuff, as uncomfortable and unpleasant and everything as it may be, and frustrating, I must tell you. So frustrating. Um, because I like try and get help with it, and it's so hard, so hard to even just get help, right? And a lot of people will scam you, and you get sucked into all these different books and everything. Get sucked into all these like courses and stuff, and there's so many videos and everything. It's like holy cow. But with prayer, I think that it's possible, right? Prayer is the important part there, and then God works through other things. God's able to do that. Last thing I'll say is that it's crazy to watch how retarded people are, like on YouTube. And I'm not trying to be really mean, but I'm trying to be more like descriptive. Like, holy cow, I think people watch videos on YouTube and have a similar idea, or wherever they watch videos and whatever. But it's just yeah. I was watching like Clavicular. I'm not saying Clavicular is retarded. I actually kind of like him. I do think he's on the path of destruction, but for some reason it's just sort of I guess you could say a guilty pleasure to watch his videos. But all the people like that swarm him and everything, and then you get tons of like these young people, and they keep coming up, and they're just on repeat, like do I mog, and then the next guy, do I mog, and you'll get that like 100 different people, or like tons of different people, and it's weird because it's like that's the meme or the mimetic that's in people's brain that expresses, right, about, it's just like a cluster of words almost, and then emotions that go with them. The words are mog, looks max, black pill, different variations on the word max, like height max and whatever. But and then the emotions that go with them are kind of like some sort of excitement, I guess you could say, and then also interest, right? Because it's playing heavily on appetites, like for fame and for whatever else, and vanity and all these things. But anyway. But I would just say it's just retarded because you see this like swarms of people, and it's like so. And there's lots of other videos that you could watch. People do watch, but and then they kind of like we gawk at it, right? Bread and Circus, we're gawking at the destruction of the world, or the degeneration. But that's not all that's out there. So I would say that it's just don't overdo it, and it's a gauge. It's good as a gauge of society, but so, and it lines up, I guess, with the data as well. But it can be depressing and black pilling, as they say. But I would say that for me, like, it's just reminding me like to go evangelize more, right? So I think that's important, and I'll keep doing that, and I'm gonna go out again tomorrow, I think. I don't know if I'll go back to the same university. The thing is that I'm kind of worried about this is if I talk to, let's say, the wrong person or whatever, and then they go and make a report or something, well, I'll just get kicked out, I guess. But it'd be okay if I get kicked out, but I think it would be fine. It's a good idea maybe if I kind of alternate locations, so I might go to the other university and try there again. I'm not exactly sure, but I kind of I do sort of like it. Like, I sort of like the fact that I'm talking to people again, even if it's not all that much. But I think eventually I might get like a good conversation with someone. It might happen, and I would welcome that. And and then the other thing is I think it's important to proclaim Jesus Christ as Savior, because that's what I believe. That's what we really believe as Christians. So so that is all